What's going on, people? What's going on, Lions fans? What's going on, One Pride Riders? By the way, we might have to change that name next year because the Lions are thinking about changing their slogan, their new little motto next year. From what I've been hearing, so they might have a new motto for this new season coming up. But we'll see what they come up with. But yeah, man, I just want to make a quick video on my thoughts about the Calvin Johnson situation because um, we leading into some new territory with this shit. And last week's announcement about Calvin Johnson retiring is starting to look like total bullshit. This is the first. This is one of the first times in a minute where Adam Schefter, I believe it was Adam Schefter or somebody else that sent out that report. It sounds like bullshit. Now I'm still 90% convinced that Calvin Johnson is going to stick with the retirement. But here's the wrinkle that I'm a little bit concerned with. Um, Calvin Johnson, that news came out about Calvin Johnson on January 31st. I'm making this video on February the 12th. And February 12th is a Friday. It's also the first week after the Super Bowl. And normally announcements, they like to keep announcements that are going to be made, hold them over until this week. After the Super Bowl, had most of the attention on the Super Bowl last week. That's why you're starting to hear about the Vontaze Burfict type shit and some other hirings starting to leak out, more this week than last week. But one thing that has not come up this week is the Calvin Johnson situation. And I just want to warn Lion fans to get ready for this shit to last straight through training camp. Because I think Calvin Johnson and his agent Buzz Cook, who was, I believe, Brett Favre's agent, this shit is about to be stranglehold. So the thoughts that I had before about Calvin Johnson actually helping the organization by announcing his retirement early, it's starting to look like it's not there. It looks like this shit is going to really stretch out. So Bob Quinn, who I believe wants no part of having Calvin Johnson a part of this team next season, and nor he should. I'm really starting to believe more and more every day that it's time to just fucking move on from Calvin Johnson because now I'm starting to get irritated as a Lions fan about this shit because we're not going to be able to move on unless we know what this motherfucker's doing. So my hope is that Bob Quinn, if he does not want Calvin Johnson to, hopefully have his plan in place that he originally had to replace Cal. Well, he's not going to be able to exactly replace him. There's no one in this free agency or draft that's going to be replacing the talent zone, but they need to replace his position with someone who could complement Tate. So, we need some type of good receiver to replace him. Not someone who's going to be on his level because there's nobody is going to be on his level. There's no one in this league. I don't care how good the receivers are that were good with, and Tony Brown, none of these motherfuckers are even on Calvin's level. Let's just be honest about that shit. None of them are even on Calvin's level. I don't care what you say. None of them in their prime are on fucking Calvin Johnson's level. The only difference is that Calvin wasn't on winning teams. And he didn't have, to me, a winning attitude. But that's a conversation for a different day. Now back to this shit. I know you guys remember the shit with Brett Favre hold out the Packers that first time, didn't show up, the training camp, and ended up going to the fucking Jets. Remember, he retired. Ain't that shit starting to look? It's that the only difference is with that, Brett Favre actually did announce his retirement early March. So the deadline probably for Calvin Johnson is to announce something by the league New Year. So there's still a possibility he will hold that press conference about his retirement before the league New Year, which I believe starts on, I get my dates messed up with the shit. It's either March 9th or March 15th. I think it's March 15th because usually the new league year starts on a Tuesday, and March 15th is on a Tuesday. So I believe it's March 15th because I know everything's been pushed back this whole year. And dating back. Remember how he had a late start to the season last year. And the Super Bowl was on the latest day it could be, which is the 7th of February. And so everything's been pushed back a week. But I'm giving them to then. That's my hardcore deadline for Calvin Johnson, because that's when free agency starts as well. And if he doesn't hold anything by then, and even if he does, when you look at the Brett Favre shit, everybody thought Brett Favre was totally hanging him up. He did his press conference in early March of 2008. Guess what he did that season? He played for the New York Jets by August of that year. He holed out the Packers the whole offseason, leading into training camp, and that's how Aaron Rodgers became their starter. Same thing happened every year that this nigga came back to the league. He did it again to the New York Jets, went on to the Minnesota Vikings, and played his final 2 seasons. He finally retired after that, after 2 years, because after that he was forced to be fucking retired. But his agent likes to hold people over. And so I'm telling Lions fans right now that this shit, I think this thing is either going to play out 2 ways. Either Calvin will stay permanently retired like Barry did, or he's going to end up on a different team. I do think that this guy has played his last game in the Lions uniform. I don't see him playing another down for the Detroit Lions. If he plays another game in this league, it's going to be on a different team, just like Brett Favre did. And that could be the plan here. You know what I'm saying? So let's see if it takes that route, because I'm making this video now because my first deadline date for him was today. If he didn't have a press conference or any extra news about this shit wasn't released by this date, this was going to take me on to the next deadline that I have, which is in early March, where he makes his press conference. And if we don't see one by the time the new league starts, this thing's going to last way in the training camp. So the hope for Bob Quinn, and I think we're in good hands with Bob Quinn, because I think Bob Quinn doesn't want this guy anyways. If this was like Martin Mayhew, where this motherfucker, everyone in the room knew Adamcon stupid ass suit was leaving last year, right? But this is the one motherfucker that thought he was coming back. I don't think it's like that, because Quinn doesn't want him, and Quinn is ready to move on without him. So I think we're in good hands. I think, unlike the Barry situation, we're in good hands. And even the Packers are in good hands because they still have Aaron Rodgers on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Backing them up. I think we're in a totally better position than we were with Barry. I think with Barry, there was a lot of belief that he would come back. I think there's a lot of belief that Calvin's not going to come back. I think Mama Ford think he's going to come back. But Bob Quinn doesn't. And it matters more if Bob Quinn, because Bob Quinn's got to make the fucking football decisions for this team. So I'd rather know what he's going to think and what he's going to do. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how this plays out, man. I'm hoping that the Lions are ahead of Calvin instead of Calvin and his agent thinking they're ahead of the Lions. Because if they are ahead of the Lions, we're going to get fucking screwed this season. With this shit. He's going to hold us out. But we got to stay ahead of this shit. So I just want to give you give you guys something to think about. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section as well. Definitely want to hear about that. And we'll see. And I remember talking to one of my commenters, Marshawn Lynch. That nigga ain't going to stay retired. He's going to come back. He's going to come back and play for the Raiders one of these next 2 years. And also, congratulations to my Raiders fans. The team will stay in Oakland this season. Going to play at the Oglala Coliseum. They got an option to stay there another year or 2 after that. Let's see if they can finally make this shit work and get that new stadium built in Oakland. I want them to stay in Oakland. Obviously, so we'll see what happens with that as well. But yeah, just food for thought for my Lions fans here. Just something to think about. Definitely watch. If you haven't watched it, definitely watch Man Beats Moore's last video. I thought that was a great video he made earlier this week. So if you haven't checked that one out, watch that one. That he kind of touches up upon a lot of the needs that the Lions, or direction that the Lions need to go without Calvin Johnson. So But look, our receiving core is devoid of talent right now, man. It is not a good receiving core without Calvin right now. But at this point, I'm ready to move on without him because this shit is just too much. This drama is just fucking extra, and there's no reason for it. And last thing, congratulations to my girl Taylor Hill and her sister, McKinley. You know, your Denver Broncos won, so congratulations to you guys. But hopefully the Denver Donkeys slip off. And what did I tell y'all? It was a boring ass Super Bowl, and I knew I was right. You know, I was right in that video I made. Not surprised by that, and I'm glad to see Scam Newton receive all of that critical treatment. You know, it worked out for me. So yeah, enjoy All-Star Weekend, NBA All-Star Weekend in Toronto. Let's go, baby. All right, y'all. Peace.